Welcome, horror fam, to HHN365, a Halloween Horror Nights podcast. As always, my name is Mike, and I'm here with my co-host Duff.
I've never been happier to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited, but we need to finish introducing the team before we talk about that.
Is that important?
I think it would be polite. I think it would be polite.
Carry on. Go ahead.
And our producer Nico.
Hey, howdy, hey! I'm excited to be here too.
As always, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at HHN365, and you can leave us a voicemail at 407-906-3405. On today's show, we'll discuss the full slate announcement, and we'll go in detail on what we're expecting from the house, zones, and shows. Duff, that's basically the news, right? I mean, there's other things to talk about, but it's mainly going to be a news-heavy show.
Well,
right?
I mean, what's new recently? I guess we do have a little bit of a rumor section, though. We should.
There's some news rumors. I think we could maybe potentially talk about some of the things we're seeing in the parks, and maybe the timeline of things, of how things were, put out there. We saw some things in the park happen first, and then we, a couple hours later, we got the full announcement.
Yeah, it was one of those. I think you actually messaged us saying, "Wow, they're really letting it all hang out." And 10 minutes later, they actually just revealed everything. So I was like, yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's start with the thing that's actually a rumor and not news like the rest is. So something that has the community in a bit of an uproar. That for that reason, we're not going to stick on too long. It's been rumored by a credible source as well that plexiglass is expected in the houses at this point. However, it has been recently objected, I guess you could say, by some other sources that it's quite the opposite, and we won't have plexi, but potentially masks and other safety precautions. So the big thing right now is plexiglass. A lot of people are upset. A lot of people are just saying, I don't care. I have the event. Bring plexiglass. So I think we just kind of want to leave it there for now, especially since it's such a contested rumor. There's it's either happening or it's not happening according to which source you talk to. So I feel like there's not too much for us to go on about if it's not even leaning one way or the other at this time.
Yeah, I agree, Duff. I feel like a couple of days ago, this kind of came out of nowhere of that this is happening, and then it burned so hot and it got everyone so riled up one way or the other that us talking about it a couple of days later just feels like kind of old news and harping on something that has already been harped on a lot by other people. So I think we're going to kind of wait until there's any sort of definitive news to voice our opinions one way or another on the plexiglass debate. I think we're going to keep out of this one.
Yeah, we are. When we see photos or something of it, we'll discuss it more.
It's been talked about.
And here's the thing: today's announcements, I think, kind of healed the wounds, and we don't want to open those back up until necessary. So we're going to leave it at that. That is currently a rumor that there's potentially plexiglass, and there's also other sources saying that's not the case. So hey, to be seen.
Yeah, feels like a landmine too. I feel like if we talk about it, we can't really win either way.
Let's stop tiptoeing this landmine and just get the fuck out. How about that?
Yeah, let's do it. All right, so let's move on.
All right, so of course, what we alluded to and straight up said earlier is that we now have the full slate of HHN30 outside of like food and drink and the really small things, but houses, scare zones, and shows are all out on the table for us to see now.
Yeah. Now, how do we want to do this stuff? Do we want to just kind of start right with like some of the things that we were shocked by, or some of the things that we didn't quite see coming, or how do we want to do this? Do we want to,
for our sake, let's just take this in order as is, go through the houses, go through the zones, go through the shows, and as we discuss them, we'll talk about what we think about the announcements and what they could look like and how we felt and whether they were surprised or we're like, oh yeah, duh, of course.
Yeah,
I think that'll make our job easier and it'll keep flow going nice.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well then you take it over.
Yeah, of course. So the announcement was actually a video And it was the basic kind of the static TV videos they've been doing for the entire season. And it basically just said, "Hey, we got 10 houses and 5 scare zones and shows and not too much else." It kind of flashed by the logos of all of those, but not actually too much to this one. It was a very basic, like here's what we have, enjoy. So not too much to talk about in the commercial or the video itself. So let's get into the actual announcement. So we did get the remaining 5 houses. Um, I didn't mean to rank these on the way I'm excited. But the first one just happens to be the Wicked Growth Realm of the Pumpkin.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, we knew this one was coming, but just to see it on there, gets me going, gets me excited. Yeah, this one,
seeing the
yeah.
logo.
it's
I mean,
it's
so I think
Halloween time.
I think that's going to be kind of the case for all these. I think for most of pretty much everything we're about to see, we knew or knew was very likely to be announced, right?
Yeah.
But I think for every single one of them, like actually seeing the logo and hearing a little more details, it's kind of like, oh shit, it's real. Oh baby.
Yeah.
So the Wicked Growth Realm of the Pumpkin, actually really enjoy the logo. It's kind of like in a pumpkin patch with vines hanging around, got some skulls, kind of like the silhouette of what looks like the Grim Reaper in the back.
Yeah, I noticed that too. It's cool.
So just a really cool looking design.
Yeah. Do you want to read the little blurb we got of it too?
Yeah. So this is where we get a little more info on it. Sounds familiar in ways to something else. So I'll go over that. The beloved tradition of Halloween has more sinister roots waiting to be unearthed, and as the grower of this ritual, the Pumpkin Lord, is preparing for his yearly human harvest and wicked growth, Realm of the Pumpkin. Lured in by the familiar sights and sounds of the holiday, guests will find themselves trapped in an endless maze of traditional Halloween domains, including a dilapidated haunted house, an ominous graveyard, and even a wicked witch's cottage, all overrun by ruthless creatures engulfed in ghastly pumpkin growth. They'll follow the ceaseless vines as they twist and turn right into the Pumpkin Lord's lair, where he eagerly awaits new victims and is never truly satiated.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I think the first half of that has a very real relation to 2018's Twisted Tradition.
Yeah. And
I don't I'm not saying it ties in, but the whole just that base of the way the pumpkin patch is and how it acts and this actually wasn't in this one, but there was another statement basically where it's like kind of sacrifices. It sounds a lot like Twisted Tradition. It starts to break away from that a bit as it moves on, of course. So it feels like maybe some inspiration there.
yeah, definitely inspiration. I know early on there were rumors that this was going to be almost like a sequel, like a Saws and Steam style. We got it as a scare zone, and we're going to get a Twisted Tradition, Wicked Growth, Realm of the Pumpkin continuation in a house. It didn't look like they decided to go that route on this, but I know that there was talks of that potentially way early on when we first heard about this Pumpkin Lord thing happening.
Yeah, there were actually like 2 big ones. You had what you just said, and then also people were like, "Is this Nathaniel Crow? Are we finally getting Nathaniel
Yeah, that was
Crow?"
the other one. Yeah, that was the other one.
I mean, by the way it's laid out, I guess they're both still potentially on the table. I mean, they could both be tied in somehow. It is possible, but it doesn't make that clear at this point if that's the case. And if
feels
it is,
like
it's not going to be like the prominent feature of the house. But
feels like it could be a potential spiritual sequel to both, but not necessarily an official sequel to either.
Definitely. And we have seen Pumpkin Lord on last year's Scare Zone, I guess is what they were called, shirts. So we kind of have an idea of what he looks like. That's what I expect to see in this house as well. And this is the first time we've actually, outside of that shirt, seen a mention of him as well. So there's the connection. It's real. Pumpkin Lord is going to be in Wicked Growth like we expected.
Right. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Now remind us where this is rumored to be coming into. It's one of the tents, correct?
Yeah. Wicked Growth is in Sprung Tent 2, I believe.
Okay. All right. Now, is that the same location as where Scarecrow was?
Scarecrow was not. It was in Sprung Tent 1.
Right, but still a tent house, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So the same locations back there, and so yeah, I mean, I know I have seen a lot of people kind of react to it in that sense, where it almost feels scarecrowy by what they're
Yeah.
describing, and I could get those vibes from that description for sure.
Yeah, so it really could potentially be like a spiritual sequel to, three things. And I know Nathaniel Crow never happened. It was more, way like a scrapped icon early on in the development stage. But still, it seems like it kind of they pulled from lots of different um, places, kind of in development
Mhm.
to come up with this. I'm really excited about it.
And I think they're meeting a need and a want that a lot of people have, yourself and even myself included, and that's this is very Halloween.
Yes, yes. Yeah, there always has to be something for me that's Halloween themed. And this scratches that itch.
Yeah, if you're a fan of like the pumpkins in the trees in Central Park, like you're gonna love this house. This is gonna be for you. It sounds like it's
Yeah,
just very much we're taking the spirit of Halloween and making it a fucking house, giving it what seems like a light type icon as well. Um, I'm super excited, and I think it's partially the unknown of that as well, that makes me so excited. I don't know exactly what to expect from this, like because they gave us that blurb, and honestly, it's still very vague. I think there are others that make it a lot more clear what you're going to see. This is just kind of like here's kind of the theme you're going to get. That's about it.
right. Now, Duff, I have to admit that when, thinking about this season, we've thought about these and kind of had an idea that they were coming. But in my head, I still thought that the way the announcements were going to come out, that we would get a full show to kind of speculate and really dive deep in what we think some of these are going to look like. We don't really have that time to do
No,
so.
no.
So we're going to have to kind of keep it pithy on some of these. But do you want to quickly just, is there, any sort of thing you hope out of this house real quick? I hope that we're going to, that we get a really cool outdoor a pumpkin patch facade. That's kind of the one thing that I'm really hoping that we get. What about you, Duff? What are you hoping out of this house?
Well, my friend, from BioReconstruct's photos of this, I think your wish is going to come true. One.
Okay, all right. I don't follow those types of
Yeah.
things. So.
Also, a quick rumor I want to toss in here to add on to your outdoor facade. Um, there's apparently a very impressive indoor facade in a sprung
Ooh.
tent. So, hey, yeah, potentially very exciting when you walk through that outdoor facade. Think you were like, oh, that was cool. Get smacked by a massive indoor one in a sprung tent. Like, holy shit. Um, yeah, I hope that comes true. But anyways, what I want from this, oh man, a lot. I think I've kind of because it's so unknown, I've built up so much in my head that I want this house to be. But honestly, I want it. Oh man, I don't want to be cheesy with this answer, and I promise with other ones that I'll be a little more specific.
Uh-huh,
But I want this one to be dark and
uh-huh.
scary because
Okay.
if you can hit that Halloween feel and get that fun in, then also match it, kind of like Scarecrow esque darkness and scares. Oh man, I think I think that's a recipe for a fucking amazing house. Because then you're hitting all the points that I could potentially want in
Yeah.
a house.
What about you, Nico? What do you want out of this one? Just
Duff just hit the nail on the head right there. Like, we get enough of the traditional Halloween with that and try to get something probably. And I would love to see something really dark and scary along with this. Like, I want to see this like really scare the pants off of us. I'm super looking forward to this whole thing and not know. And when y'all were talking about like, oh yeah, it seems to have notes of the scarecrow and like that. And I'm the guy over here like going like, yeah, I like pumpkins. This looks fucking cool.
If you couldn't see, I was actually wafting the
Yeah.
picture, like my nose. It was just kind of, oh, this has nodes of, pumpkin. Nathaniel Crow is wafting in.
If you
Yeah, I
can't
had the
tell,
hand motion.
Nico has gone to breweries with us, unfortunately for him.
Yeah. And I'm over in the corner with a sour being like, yeah, I'm enjoying this. Yeah. No, I'm really looking forward to this. And today's announcement and the description of it has gotten me more excited. And I believe I have this as my number one hype one.
We got a hype list episode.
Yeah,
We're gonna do in a couple
yeah.
weeks.
That's we have about it. We have a time for basically hype list episodes.
That's probably going to
basically.
be, I'd say, our last episode before the actual.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We got a couple of weeks before that happens, so hold off.
Yeah,
Don't give that away yet.
We are looking forward to that. I guess I was tipping my hand, but that probably I think we've already said that.
You could say whether you're super excited or not. Just don't give a number yet. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, Wicked Growth. Yeah, this is already looking forward to that, and I might want, since we're going to be at Duff Gardens, I'm leaning towards that we do this one first.
Oh baby, please be open.
Oh yeah,
please be open when they release Stay and Scream. That would be, if I can start HHN30 with this house. Oh. And I will say, it is a location where that frequently does. So just throwing that out there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, this show is already starting to be almost 3 hours long. So let's.
You guys ready for a 4-hour episode?
Yeah.
Next one's going to be very long.
Yeah.
You think so? I don't know. I think this one we know a lot of. All right, let's just say it. Next one. Welcome to Scary Horror in the Heartland.
Yeah. So this one we kind of already. I mean, we knew most of these were coming, but this one we actually got to see some pictures. We could stand in the Men in Black queue and like peer over like a creeper and kind of see some of this. This one, we knew this one was coming, but was still very excited.
Oh yeah, I mean, let me read their description on the site first. Some of the most haunting original stories from Halloween Horror Nights over the years have been set in the mysterious town of Cary. And this year, Welcome to Scary Horror in the Heartland will combine these stories and bring them to life once again in a first ever haunted house that pays homage to the event's 30-year history. Guests will be transported back to the shady township of Cary and enter familiar settings that will leave fans shrieking from nostalgia and horror. From the ghastly cave of vampires, from the hive, the decrepit attic of Dead End, and the disturbing meets human deli from Leave It to Cleaver, they'll find no escape from evil of Cary once and for all. I think I typed that wrong. That came out weird, but you got the gist.
Yeah. No, yeah. And so it looks like they've already told us. So we're getting Leave It to Cleaver. We're getting, Dead End. We're getting the Hive. They've already kind of given us, tipped their hands about, what 4 or 5 of the rooms are going to be out of this, probably how many rooms do you think? 12, 15?
It's, I want to say it's the 12 range, I believe. And there's there is a strong rumor going around of every single property in there. It seems pretty likely. We're not going to go all through that at this moment, of course.
But that
kind of, this house doesn't leave too much to ponder or wonder what it could be. It's very clearly taking properties that were set in Scary and making it just a straight up mashup scene by scene house.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not mad about it.
It's an anniversary year. Some of these, anniversary houses aren't everyone's favorite, but I'm really excited that we're gonna get to go back to and see scenes from some of these favorites and some of the ones that I missed over the years as well. So
here's the thing: am I the biggest fan of mashup house? Is it going to be my absolute favorite? Probably not. Am I going to enjoy the hell out of seeing these properties again? Absolutely.
Right.
So, it's probably not a contender for favorite house of the year for me, but I'm damn excited for it.
Yeah, I'm excited. Who thinking back with Duffy, you're like, are we going to get back a room from Dead End again ever? But we are. It's exciting for me. Yeah. Because I feel like that's from a year that was overall kind of lackluster, but Dead End was one of the standout houses of that year. The fact that we are being told that we're already going to get a room from it. I'm excited.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're someone who's there's huge fan base, it's kind of a niche fan base, but a pretty sizely one for the Hive. I think they love it, but the general public and the consensus on that house wasn't that great, so they probably thought they'd never see anything about it again. So get to experiencing it again. I'm sure there's fan bases from all kinds of properties that are very excited that they're getting their favorite back.
Yeah, no, just looking at a few that they list here, I feel like a lot of these are the ones that people have been clamoring for sequels for. Because people have been clamoring a Leave It to Cleaver sequel for a long time.
Yeah.
Dead End, people wanted to see something come back with that. Like you said, there was a very strong fan base of the Hive. Instead of giving us sequels, they're like, okay, well, we're gonna give you a something for of these fan favorites.
Yeah, and I mean, there's again, probably not my favorite layout for a house style, but great at the same time. It's it's not a recipe for the greatest house ever, but it's a recipe for a good house.
Now, Duff. Again, we're to try to limit too much speculation on each of these things, but we don't have a lot of time to do this. So my question is, do you think they're going to be kind of like take some of the best scenes or scene from the house, or are they going to basically make a new room that's clearly supposed to be from that world, like say Leave It to Cleaver, but design a brand new room themed around that house? Or are we going to see basically a room duplicated from some of these houses?
I think it'll depend on the property. I think some of them will get kind of a pretty much duplicate of a specific room, and I think in others it'll be more of a here's our take on what the house or the story is.
Continuation, a little bit of the.
I don't even know if I'd say continuation, more of just kind of a a mashup within the mashup. Like we're taking the entire house or entire section of the house and kind of merging it into one, rather than getting a brand new story or just copying it as.
Okay.
So I don't think we're going to get any kind of like canon progression in this house. It's going to be more of just going back and experiencing it. I think there will be different takes of that though.
But you think that they'll, sometimes they'll just have, favorite room from the place, and sometimes it's going to be a mashup, one room that mashes up some favorite scenes from these previous properties. Yeah,
that'd be my guess.
Yeah, I see where you're coming there for sure. It'll be exciting to see what they end up doing here.
Oh man, I can't wait. And I also can't wait for this next one. And this is one that teased everyone in the community for a while. The way it shifted so much on the spec map, the way it was a different house planned for last year, and now this is the only change from 2020's version, at least as far as houses go. And that's going to be, we have an official name now. Ready for this? Case Files Unearthed, Legendary Truth.
Yeah, no, yeah, you touched on it a little bit, Duff. This one, I think, it was rumored to be all sorts of different things throughout the season.
I mean, mainly, Creepshow and Halloween 3 were
Halloween 3. Billie Eilish. It was basically it was going to be a Billie Eilish before she changed her style and pulled out of the it's not necessarily a slight don't necessarily want to get back into the Billie Eilish talk of this podcast. We've moved on from there, but that's actually what happened. Do
what's best for your brand, Billy. I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or whatever your publicist says.
Yeah, they know better than you, right? Yeah. Right. Anyway. Back to Legendary Truth. I know Sleuth Nico over here is going to be ecstatic to go join up with Boris Schuster and get kind of a spy sleuthy house.
Yeah. So, Duff, let's get the blurb and hear it, and then kind of from there do a little bit of speculating what we think this is going to look like.
All right. The world of Legendary Truth, an involving story following a mysterious paranormal research group, has haunted guests via unique haunted houses throughout Halloween Horror Nights history. In Case Files Unearthed, Legendary Truth, guests will step into the well-worn shoes of infamous Boris Schuster, the elusive private eye investigating the supernatural, as he endlessly searches for clues to a series of strange occurrences throughout New York City. Falling further into the shadowy dark world of the paranormal, guests will face an overwhelming onslaught of ghouls, poltergeists, and terrors, all while trying to solve the biggest mystery of them all, how they'll survive.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I I'm just gonna go out on a limb here, but it feels like we're getting like a film noir style house, like the the alleyways of New York City and the feel of like like we're stepped into like in a 1930s kind of film noir. I'm excited. I think it will be really cool.
And the logo they presented, I think, is the big sign of that. Kind of got that black and white going on in the font of Case Files Unearthed. Very much matches that. And the Legendary Truth is like that typewriter font as well. So yeah, it's pretty much what you're saying. I will say also in this logo is interesting. If you want to do any deeper digging on your own, you can see the silhouettes of 5 different kinds of monsters. So something to look into because I'm sure these monsters will be featured in the house as well.
Cool. Yeah, no, I'm excited about this one. Yeah, this is just based on. I mean, I was always excited for Legendary Truth House once we heard those rumors, but this announcement has shot it up quite a bit in my hype list as well, just based on what if we are correct on what this feel is going to be. This is going to be super cool, guys. I'm really excited.
Oh yeah, it'll be good to see a good house in the Shrek theater.
Yeah,
this is true. It's about time.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that. Hopefully, I'm not going to go out yet and pretend I've seen it. I will say another exciting thing about this is it gets to take people, a lot of people who are newer to the event yet still kind of enjoy HHN lore and have dug deep. They get to experience Legendary Truth and maybe even Legions of Horror make some sort of deeper appearance into this house. I'm sure at the very least they'll be involved as Easter eggs, but I hope there's more to it and that's actually involved in the story. You know what I mean?
I think you might be right, Duff. And some of these ghouls and poltergeists and terrors might be from the legions.
I come on, it has to be.
I really hope we get this house as one of our tours. That's going to be selected for the tour that we get.
Oh yeah, I hope so.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we get 6, right? In the long one.
It's tough to say what's going to be in the 6 and what's going to be in the 3. Of course. I mean, honestly, I plan on probably doing a 3 later in the year, anyways. I'm sure out of the 9 houses that get tours, this will be one of them.
So you're saying that this 3 and the 6 are different different tours. So when you do the 3, you're only you're not getting when you're doing the 6, you're not getting the 3 plus 3. You're getting 6 totally separate ones that if you go on the 3, then you could potentially see tour 9.
Correct.
Oh, that's very exciting.
Yeah. So there is an advantage doing both the 6 tour and the 3 tour, or the 6 house and the 3 house tours. And I'm sure this will be in one of them. It will.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's only one is going to get left out, and I can't imagine this one is one of those.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense. So I'll ask the question that you've been asking us. And what are you looking for in this house, Mike?
I'm looking for this one, I think. And it's funny that it's coming out of Shrek Theater, but I'm looking forward to just kind of overall feel on this one. Like the sets, the sound, the special effects. I'm hoping that this one kind of comes together and just makes a really cool, just like not. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be scary too, but this one I'm more looking for not necessarily just to scare my pants off, but just transport me into a different place and world and tell a great story.
I fully agree with all that. Nico, anything you're particularly looking forward to that might be in this house?
I mean, I'm just looking forward to like a little mystery house, haven't really experienced a mystery house like this before, so it'll be cool to see something like that and see how they do their little spin on it. And it'll be interesting to then see like, oh, I remember seeing this in this house, and then staying up till 4 a.m. laying in my bed at Adventura the night of, being like, "What is this? What is that?"
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
what I'm looking for. That's why I really want this to be one of the tour houses that we get. So a lot of this can be explained to me,
Mhm.
because I feel like I'll enjoy it, but I won't enjoy it on the levels as other people do.
And my point also involves why I'd really love to see this on our Unmasking the Horror tours, because I want to see a lot of Easter eggs. A lot. It's tying so deep into lore and something we haven't really seen in a while either.
Yeah.
And this, legendary truth ties into stuff that's really outside of legendary truth as well. There's so much you can bring into this house. That's deep in HHN lore, and I want to see Easter eggs all over.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I think we are. I think a lot of these houses, honestly, are going to be Easter egg heavy. I think Scary as well is going to be Easter egg heavy. Like a little bit of here, like you're going to get even in the Leave It to Cleaver, room. You're going to get an Easter egg from a different Halloween Horror Nights house set in Cary, Ohio. I think you're going to get a lot of Easter eggs.
Yeah, I think in an anniversary year that makes a lot of sense. So, hoping that happens.
All right. Moving on to the last one that this one wasn't necessarily a surprise either because of the Peacock live video incident. But this is kind of the last one that we haven't experienced that had not been announced yet, right?
Yeah. So we did see the video. It's on YouTube now, and that's going to be Puppet Theater Captive Audience. So while we do have a video, and I've seen a lot of info, it's a nearly 10-minute long video. A good watch. Go check it out if you haven't for some reason. They did give us another blurb, so I'll read through that real quick. The demented side of puppetry and theater will take center stage in Puppet Theater Captive Audience as guests are transported to San Francisco's abandoned Grandeur Theater in the early 1900s. They'll find the Pasix puppet troupe trapped within its ruins in the midst of rehearsing for their next grisly performance. With the fanatical need to entertain any captive audience, the troupe has turned the transforming.
Never mind.
No. The troupe
they said the thing. That's what I went on.
The troupe has turned to transforming trespassers into living puppets, dismantling and sewing them back together as life-size marionettes for additions to their horrific encore. Will guests escape in one piece, or will it be their final curtain call? No matter what, the show must go on.
All right. Yeah. So we've kind of known a lot about this one of what's going to look like, but now we've actually got a big blurb of the story as well. So we kind of have the backstory to work on as well. Duff, what are you thinking on this one?
Oh man, I mean, I think this is going to be a house that relies heavily on detailed sets. I think that's going to be kind of its calling card. It's and I think all of us really appreciate those immersive elements and beautiful sets. I just hope this doesn't go into the range where it's relying too much on that, because we have seen that in previous houses, and it becomes a detriment more than an actual advantage for the houses.
Yeah. I've gone back and forth on this one so much. I am very excited about it, but I'm also a little worried about it as well. I'm back to the excited. I think now hearing this story and now seeing it kind of laid out here, I'm back to the excited. I think this is gonna be a good house.
I mean, here's the thing: I'm excited for everything right now. Everything. There were some years where occasionally there are properties that, I want to see it, but this year, I'm actually excited for everything. So I don't want to make it seem like I'm like down on this house.
Yeah, for sure. No. So should we ask the question of that we've done for some of the others of what's the one thing that you're kind of looking out of this house stuff? What's the itch this house you're hoping it will scratch for you?
Huh. I want it to. Hmm. I want to see they bring in how they turn people into puppets, and I want to see a lot of that, and I want to see it, um, like everywhere. When I say everywhere, I don't mean everywhere throughout the house. I mean above you,
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
just kind of unique levels of the way that puppets naturally are. There's different
Yeah.
styles of puppets and how they're utilized, and I want to see actual scare actors utilized in different ways like that.
That's basically, you took the words out of my mouth, but just worded it totally differently. I want to see unique scares out of this one. I want to see this one. It has a lot of potential being really fun, and I think that's what I'm hoping out of this one. I'm hoping out of this one that we get to see a lot of unique, fun, out of the box style scares in this one, and we see what they can kind of put together.
Yeah, definitely agree with that.
What about you, Nico? What are you hoping out of this one?
It's gonna be cool to see puppets, to see if like they'll actually be like real like puppetry in there. Because if they're able to do something like that, I think that'd be really cool to see some like real puppets. Um, Interested to see like how they turn people into marionettes. Wonder that's gonna look a lot like what we saw in Tooth Fairy, or we just see like people kind of like hung up and see some of the body horror like that. Um, yeah, this is just a weird wild card that could possibly be the dark horse of the event. I really have no expectations for this whatsoever. So, I, yeah, I'm literally, this is probably the one I'm most blind about. Like, even then, like the description of it doesn't really tell me that much as it does others. Either that or it doesn't excite me as much. But like I said, we'll see. Like, I've really like no expectations for this house.
Yeah.
I guess.
This house could be really good or could really fall flat.
But
But
not surprising. It's not surprising that the hype seems the lowest for something that we've known is going to exist, like actually known, and seen a 10-minute video on for 8 months or so, like a long time. So of course the newer things are taking precedent now. So honestly, that might be a factor. And subconsciously, it could be affecting me too.
Do you know what the vibes I'm getting from this one? I think this one is going to be kind of from 2019. I think this is going to hit the community kind of like Depths of Fear. People are going to really, really, really like it, and then there are going to be some people who, think it's totally silly and call them, the fish people, the fishy boys type of thing. You're either going to love it or hate this one.
They're gonna be like, "Oh, you like the puppet house? Don't
Oh yeah,
yeah. Oh, you one of those puppet fans, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Is this, speaking of Depths of Fear, this is going in the same sprung tent as Depths of Fear, or is it flip flopped back there?
Flip flop.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know which one is one or two. I just know they're both back. That and Pumpkin are back there.
No, Depths
allegedly, but
puppet is
we already
one.
know.
Depths of Fear was.
Yeah.
So this last house, I mean, we've actually experienced this house before. Revenge of the Tooth Fairy.
Yeah.
I mean,
so we don't have to necessarily read the blurb. We can just hop right into it. Duff, what are you hoping out of seeing the return of Revenge of the Tooth Fairy? What are you hoping?
I mean, I just want to see it fully fleshed out. I think there was. We talked about this off mic, and we have talked about this previously on mic. I personally think it was the most affected by plexiglass because it's meant to be a tight, in your face scare style house, and they could not do that. So hopefully this year they have more freedom to be able to show us what they actually intended it to be. And I think there was even, there's a finale it seemed we should have gotten, didn't get. So maybe actually, get the full finale now too. I just want to see this house. And this is going to be the same for the other two that we already saw, of course. I want to see it at full capacity.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I think this one, we know what we're gonna get. So all it can really do is it can only get better from here, so I'm hoping that we just we see it spruced up a little bit, and we get some really good run throughs out of this one, and that this is the claustrophobic scary one for out of the event, kind of the Nightingales style, like you really go into it and you leave feeling yucky. During I think during last year HHN Light, I think I saw the potential of it being in that house. It just wasn't quite there. So I'm hoping that this year, plexiglass, no plexiglass, no matter what, that this house really becomes that house, and it lives up to its full potential in any way it can. That's what I'm hoping out of this one.
And this house might look better, seeing it during the evening instead of at 10 a.m. in the morning. So we experienced it for the first time. So that might have a little bit to do with that. Like, maybe it's a little bit better at night because our eyes would be more adjusted. I don't know.
I think also this one, I think in a lineup of 10, this one I think would hit people a little bit differently than just being one of the two houses featured in the HHN Light, kind of doing the heavy lifting, and what last year turned out to be. I think it was put in a unfair position of having to do that when it wasn't necessarily designed to be that marquee house. Bride was this one and wasn't necessarily meant to do that heavy lifting. So I think this one has a lot of potential to be a sleeper.
Yeah, I agree. I think people are underestimating how much this can improve this year. And I look forward to it. We'll see.
Yeah. Yep. And there is a lot of good in this house already. Like that facade, when I first saw that, it blew me away. I loved the way they did that storybook facade. It was
so
awesome.
Unique. So unique.
One of my favorite things I've seen in HHN ever.
One of my big hot takes, I think, it seems like a hot take, is I preferred Tooth facade over Brides. Brides was amazing facade, but it was all based off its grand scale and how beautiful the set was. Tooth was so unique, and sometimes you need that. That's gonna be worth a lot more than just being like good,
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, there is a lot more to talk about, Duff. We're done with the houses, but we still have about half of what we have to talk about tonight still on the table. And a lot of this stuff, we kind of came out of, we heard rumors, but we knew nothing. And now we know everything, or at least know a lot.
I would say the first one we're going to talk about, we got most of our info from seeing it out on the streets, put up. So of course I'm talking about Seek and Destroy over there in New York. We kind of figured out what the base was, especially when those controller signs went up. Like, okay, it kind of makes sense. It looked like they're like harvesting blood or something like that. Like, okay, yeah. So we started to piece things together, and I don't think we were too far off. So let me read their description real quick. Guests will find themselves in a New York dystopia where a ruthless alien cyber regime, led by the controller, has taken over, relentlessly scanning the city streets for humans and turning them into fuel. With the regime's loyal followers hiding in the darkness, endlessly hunting for new victims, guests must either join them or be destroyed.
Yeah. Duff, just seeing this blurb and seeing what we saw, this seems really, really fun. I'm getting like War of the Worlds, like Orson Welles radio program type of vibes on this one. You know what I mean? Like that old timey War of the World feel. I think this could be really cool.
Oh, I am. And the artwork only hypes me up even more. So it's just very dystopian looking, first of all. Focuses on the red and blacks just like the zone itself does. But if you look in the back there, you see this massive face among the cityscape, and the controller. That's got to be the controller, right? That's him. He's scanning over the city.
Yeah,
And are we going to see the controller? I'm just saying.
that would be really cool.
I'm just saying. So,
A big, I mean, it's been a while since we've seen a really big outdoor set piece or puppet or character like that, right?
yeah. I mean, if they literally, if you took what like we see in this picture and like actually put him in the zone as is, yeah, he's the first time we'd ever have anything like that. Like that would be
That scale.
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Basically
insane.
like a Robosaurus style
Hanging from a
size.
building.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And assuming he is like scanning across the city streets, searching, and this is all becoming like headcanon more than reality at this point.
Yeah.
But
I mean, yes.
we'll see. It could become reality. We'll see. But hey, part of a logo's job is to get you excited, and it has me excited and thinking of what this can be.
Absolutely. All right. We don't have to ask that question about every little thing here. But let's move on to the next one. Gorewood Forest.
Yeah, I'm very excited. You've known this for quite a while. If you listen to the show, the first time Terra Cruentus or Terra Queen in any form was rumored, Mike and myself were very hype about the possibility.
Yeah.
And now we have Terra Cruentus and then Terra Queen coming in the form of the Scare Zone Gorewood Forest. So, yeah, I'm ecstatic.
I'm super excited. I'm excited that we're getting her. I don't want to feel like this next statement is going to feel like that I'm not grateful that we are getting Terra Queen. But some of the stuff early on that we heard rumored, this seems a little scaled back in the scale of we were hearing, oh, we're going to get a Terra Queen house and a zone attached to it. And now we have, a Central Park zone themed around the Terra Queen. I don't think we're necessarily going to get the grandeur that we we hoped for, but we get Terra Queen nonetheless. And I'm not trying to sound ungrateful. We are getting Terra Queen, and I'm excited.
Oh, I mean, to be honest, until we started to get into HHN30 rumor season, when that started, like what feels like 8 years ago now, I wasn't convinced we'd ever see Terra Queen again. So I'm just happy to have it in some form and have it to be excited about. And I trust that it'll be executed well. Before I forget, let me get the blurb out for you guys. The Heartless Terra Queen is back, and her wicked plans to remake the world in her terrifying image will take root in Central Park, transforming it into the grisly Gorewood Forest. Guests will find nowhere to hide from her menacing minions as they harvest fresh blood to feed her ever-growing power. So, I mean, just very Terra Queen.
Yeah. No, I know a couple weeks ago there was that spec map that came out that had, Terra Queen show ? Now that didn't come together in a way that they didn't announce a show like in the show category themed around like Terra Queen, but that doesn't necessarily write off that we're not going to get show like things in this zone. Maybe spilling out into that esoteric gate area of the park, leading into Central Park. You think that's still on the table for this one, Duff?
I mean, to be honest, I'd still fully expect Terra Queen to have some type of show presence in some form. I'd be shocked if we don't get something like it.
Yeah, even if it's just kind of little small show scenes like we got from 2 years ago with the Vikings Undead.
To be honest, I'd be surprised if they were that small. I expected that to be at least something where it's like literally her, like an actual speaking type show. It could be a very short, like I'm even talking like, again, if you want to just go back 2 years, Zombieland. But something like of that, not even necessarily that scale, but of that sort.
Right. Now, the only thing that makes me worried that we may not see something on that scale is just the space they have to work with. here. That the Central Park is a bit of a smaller zone, and
they've done it in this exact space before with Bayou Blood.
That's true. Yeah, that's right. They built that right, location. Kind of right in, entering into that area. Yep. They kind of had it at a stage there. So
again, I expect something like that.
All right. Moving on. Now, this one, Dove. There's kind of a story. Let's there's a story that goes along with this one.
I have a lot of thoughts.
So we've this one we saw the Eddy zone on the spec map. And there was a lot of rumors that wasn't necessarily going to be coming.
Yeah.
And then
can we talk about how we found out how quickly things changed real quick? Going into a segment we're going to talk about in a little bit, and that's the scare zone construction. This morning, the morning of announcements, park opened, people went in and saw there was on the stages that had been recently erected a Vamp 55 backdrop on one of those. So it was like, oh, well, definitely not Eddy, huh? Some sort of best of scare zone mashup will be great. A couple hours later, we got the scare zone titled Lights, Camera, Hacktion, Eddy's Revenge.
Yeah.
Action.
So, okay. So there is one thing this can relate to and that people have brought up, and that's the chainsaw drill team. I don't know why I couldn't get that out. The chainsaw drill team had a year. It was called Hacktion, where it was basically like they're making a movie.
Right.
So this is kind of like taking the main chainsaw guy within HHN and having him make a movie.
Yeah. So I'm a little confused on what exactly, I guess let's read the blurb and see if it kind of opens up any, ideas of what this is going to look like.
Eddy Schmidt, Jack the Clown's diabolical brother, is returning to Halloween Horror Nights to film a gory Hollywood sequel on Lights, Camera, Hacktion, Eddy's Revenge. Except this time the monsters are real. Vampires, evil clowns, creatures from the watery depths, and other horrific beings from events past will roar on the scene where guests will make their short and painful cameo.
Cool. So it looks like now reading that blurb, we kind of see. So it's going to be an Eddy zone as well as kind of a scare zone mashup zone, because we're getting cameos from these previous zones, like the vampires, creatures from the watery depths. So that makes sense why we would see that Vamp 55 set out there. It sounds like it is an Eddy zone, but it's also a mashup zone. It's both.
It feels like they were like, all right, it's an anniversary year, so we're gonna do a mashup zone. They create it, cool. Someone's like, you know what? We need more. Someone's like, let's put some fucking chainsaws in. You know what? Not just chainsaws. Let's put fucking Eddy in there.
Yeah.
Like, all right, cool, whatever. It sounds messy, not necessarily in a bad way, but like messy.
Well, Messi's over at a PSG at the moment, so he's gone. He's gone.
Points to Mike for that one.
But I hear you, Duff. I don't know what to expect with this one. This could be really, really, really cool. Obviously, it's great to see some of these scare zones, favorite scare zones coming back. I think there's going to be a lot of people really excited in the community to get some Vamp 55 action back, and it sounds like we're getting some others as well. Watery depths, creature from the watery depths. That could be a couple of different, scare zones. Evil clowns, creatures. There's going to be some fan favorites in here.
Yeah. So I just kind of have worries about how the layout is and how I will enjoy a mashup laid out on just basically separate stages throughout the zone. I'll save more of that discussion for our eventual hype list. My thoughts could change before then. We're going to see a lot of construction and progress before we get to that point. So a lot can change. But for now, I'll just say I do have some concerns about this zone. I think it's a zone that like could very well be amazing, just because it's so crazy. You don't know which way it's gonna go.
Right. All right. Well, moving on. The next one, Duff. This one, we saw a lot being built in the park as well. We, had a tagline already on a sign. But Duff, what's this one?
So going over to Production Central, you have 30 years, 30 fears. Shocker. Who knew that was coming? Let me read the blurb real quick. The most infamous characters from past Halloween Horror Nights scare zones will reunite to take over the Avenue of the Stars on 30 years, 30 fears. Guests will enter a gory reunion where the past has come back to haunt them, with creatures of blood and bone, beastly monstrosities, and chainsaw-wielding fiends lurking around every corner.
Sounds kind of like the other one.
It sounds like they're bringing the icons together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got this chainsaws, you got the mashup zone, but this one has the icon. But Eddie is an icon too, so
yeah, I will see how that works. But I mean, I think I have no qualms with this. For the location it's in, just putting the icons out there and calling it a day. I don't want to say calling it a day. The sets look great. I think it's a good looking zone. I think it fits the area it's in well, and especially being the lead scare zone for when you're walking in the park, it's perfect. It's gonna sum up what HHN30 is pretty well, I think.
Yeah, I'm not worried about this zone. I think this zone, you can already tell based on the work that they have in the park, this zone's going to knock our socks off. It's going to be really cool. It's going to fill exactly what we need out of a throwback zone, a mashup zone. I'm not concerned about this one in the slightest. This one's going to be great.
Probably not going to make for the greatest scare zone in the world, but it's going to do exactly what you want it to. And I think it has potential to be the best Production Central scare zone in a while. So, there's something. It's not saying much, but yeah, there's something.
I mean, I really liked Anarcade, but we're not going to go there.
No, not talking about that. And there is one more scare zone. We of course know what this is as well because, it was on the props that are already out, and that's in San Francisco. We have Crypt TV officially announced.
Yeah. Read the blurb and then we'll go to it.
Yeah, we don't have too much to say about these two, I guess. Guests will step inside Crypt TV, a dark universe of monsters that reside in the same reality on their screen, in their pockets, and now in real life. In this nightmare world that's overtaken San Francisco, creatures of all shapes and sizes exist, including the Look-See, the Sunny Family Cult, Harclaw, and Miss Anity. Now they've been brought to life in a world of fear that will engulf any guest to enter.
Yeah.
All your favorites.
The Sunny Family Cult.
To be
Miss
fair,
Amity.
That's the best thing on Crypt TV, in my opinion. Just saying. But yeah, I think we knew it was coming. We kind of know what to expect. It's going to be very much, here's the monster and the villains of these shows. There you go. The props look cool. The sets look great.
Without offending anyone, I really like the part of this being announced as how quickly everyone was like, "Oh, Crypt TV! I've been watching Crypt TV since forever." How quickly the community went to gatekeeping that the fact that most of us did not know what Crypt TV was, and pretended like they fell asleep watching Crypt TV as a little tot. Let's not pretend like this was something that people, you really knew what was coming.
Everything on Crypt TV has like millions of views, so I'm sure there are plenty of people who did see it. But I will say it's funny how much it went from like, the fuck is Crypt TV? I fucking love Crypt TV. They make the best horror content like in the world. Like they're the best.
Yeah, and there's a lot. I saw a lot of gatekeeping of like, how dare you even pretend like you don't know what Crypt TV is? Like Crypt TV is the best thing that Eli Roth has ever touched. Type of discussion. I saw that.
Did you really?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well,
but people are excited. You know, they're
People
like,
like to get excited.
yeah.
Yeah, and the horror community really likes to find little, very niche things, and then speculate that it might come to HHN. And this time it happened. We got this little niche thing that I would say maybe a year or two ago, I think there were probably one or two people being like, how cool would it be to see some of these Crypt TV properties at the Halloween Horror Night event? And everyone else was like, that's never going to happen. Well, it did. And I think it's exciting to see what it turns out.
Yeah, no, I think I'm excited just based off the quality of sets we see right now and the quality of monsters I've seen on my TV catching up on Crypt TV. So potential, definitely potential.
And as long as they execute it well, it's that, the adage, if you build it, they will come. And, if it's done well enough, people will like it. Like,
yeah,
I guess you and I, Mike, probably have very little connection to Crypt TV. Like, the only connection I have to Eli Roth is Inglourious Bastards. And, that would be cool to see. But yeah, I think, people, we're all like, kind of like, oh, what the fuck is this? When really, I feel like this will do well. I feel like people who are really big fans of it, I'm really happy that they get to see like their little niche part of the internet be represented on this thing. And don't come after us for saying this is niche. Because this is fucking niche. I'm sorry. One of your biggest shows was on Facebook Watch. All right, so cool your jets before you come after. Just come after me. Don't go after Duff and Mike. That's what I'm here. I'm the punching bag. Come after me for that. But I'm really, really happy for those really niche fans. That's like, if your favorite podcast got a scare zone or like got their own like TV show.
Don't give me ideas.
Or something like that.
All right, don't give me ideas.
No, like
I'll start pitching it to HHN right now.
Like if a Doughboys restaurant opened up at City Walk, like you would be super excited about that, and people who have no idea who the Doughboys are would be like, oh, "What the fuck is this?" But as long as it is executed well, I think people will like it and enjoy it. And I think this is in like the best spot for scare zones. I think this is my favorite spot, at least it was my least favorite scare zone last year, but I was like, oh, this is a cool location. So I think this will do well.
Yeah.
Like when they opened Cowfish, I was like, I don't know who the fuck this chef Cowfish is, but I'll try his food, sure.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're like, all right, it's not for me. So
whoa, I love Cowfish.
I know.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about this one, just because I worry that, and I think I mentioned this last week, that I'm worried there's a potential here of this turning into not much more than a showcase of some really cool makeup and shows that are on the internet for a brand they're trying to build here, then a really cool scary zone. But there's also unlike, and I think I drew the comparison of, I was worried it might turn into Face Off from 2014. I think there's more potential here than that zone, just because there's stories to go along with these characters that could make really fun, scary scare zones or sections of scare zones if you really lean into it and work really hard of building world build in this area, instead of just having the makeup do the heavy lifting and what Face Off had to do, just based on what that property was.
Yeah, I think that's a fair concern. I guess we'll see which way they take it.
But this could be turning out to be a really cool zone, and I'm excited to see.
Don't sleep on it. I'll just say don't sleep on it. And if you go and you fall asleep in it, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I think this one I'm the most concerned about. Like, so it sounds like the Eddie zone is the one that you're most concerned about, Duff. Yeah. This is the one I'm most concerned about, just based on what face-off zone turned into, and I really didn't care for that zone at all. I'm having a little bit of worry here that this could potentially turn into something like that.
And I think Nico's most worried about seek and destroy because I think he's a little weary about getting hunted for fuel. So
Yeah, I have some Matrix nightmares where I'm a battery. So
all right. So that's all we had for scare zones, but we still did get 2 shows announced.
yes.
So listen, there are people who are like, I want Marathon of Mayhem back. They didn't say, I want a Lagoon show. I want Marathon of Mayhem. Well, you quite literally got your wish because we had the announcement of Marathon of Mayhem, Carnage Factory.
Yeah. So read the blurb, Duff, and then we're going to talk all over this.
Oh, I'm excited. The blurb makes me more excited. Jack the Clown will lure guests into a trance, and they'll awaken in the heart of an insidious factory with pulsing lasers and pounding electrifying music. Frozen with fear, a nightmare machine will extract guests' deepest fears, one by one, and project them onto giant water screens, showcasing the notorious Halloween Horror Nights icons and frightening scenes from Netflix's critically acclaimed series, The Haunting of Hill House, the legendary Universal Monsters classic movies, and the iconic slasher film, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much. They have a lot to live up to, and last year, but there's I feel like a lot of already groundwork laid. That just the format is so great in the way it is that it's really hard to mess this up. So I think there's this is gonna be great.
I think you're on record as saying it is the single best thing to ever come to Horror Nights, which also may mean that it's the single best thing, in your opinion, to be at a theme park ever.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this one's going to live up to that. I think there was a lot for the last years just based on the, I'm a sucker for this synthwave and a lot of those properties that were utilized in it and the uniqueness of the way they did it. And, seeing Stay Puft Marshmallow on the buildings, I don't know if it's going to live up to last year, but I think it would be impossible for it to do so. Mm-hmm. But I think it's going to be really, really good. I think this is going to be much more Halloween Horror Night lore heavy, mm-hmm. and I think that is a good way to go if you really want to try to something to live up to last year. To kind of let's go a different route here and gets fan servicey in a different way, and really lean into the Halloween Horror Night lore anniversary type feel on this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I have much to add to that. I obviously excited for it. Like you said, I don't think there's really any way it can hit the levels of its predecessor. I think it was not lightning in a bottle, but it just had so much going for it that it'll be nearly impossible for this to match that. That doesn't mean it won't be a damn good show, and I expect it to be. And I think that the blurb we just saw, it sounds like there's like sort of legit story going along with it too. So, man, I'm excited. I'm really excited for this. And I don't hate that they kept the name Marathon of Mayhem and are just kind of making it a series. That's great. Love that.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that like last week or the week before, where we're like, it would be cool to see Marathon of Mayhem come back and kind of be like Illuminations, where it's like it's the title of the show, and then there's always going to be like a subtitle with it every year. Which you might as well use the premium brand, which it certified itself as a premium brand last year for Marathon of Mayhem, being one of the greatest things to ever come to a theme park. Was that show. So, it's probably not going to live up to what we had, but because it's a Marathon of Mayhem show, because they are going out and naming it Marathon of Mayhem, they understand the expectation that is behind that brand. So I feel like they're really going to knock it out of the water. I am disappointed that we don't see Beetlejuice in the description and that it just specifically says Hill House and Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Well, hey, we'll see. They could just be keeping it from us or left it out.
Yeah, or Warner
yeah.
Brothers tells them that they can't use that in
Oh,
the
yeah, that's
show
true.
advertising.
Yeah, that would be
So,
yeah.
which would be cool. I mean, that was my best part about Marathon of Mayhem, how it brought everything together. So maybe we'll see that again this
We
year.
can hope. I know you're not the only one who would be sad about an omission of Beetlejuice. And
Yeah, I want to see the Juice Man.
All right. Well, we did have another show announcement over what they didn't say it straight up, but over in Fear Factor.
Yeah.
And not fully what I expected for a name, but Halloween Nightmare Fuel.
Yeah. 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 I'll just leave it at that when I think about this name.
I think someone put Mountain Dew on top of it.
Oh, really? Is that's something you've already seen?
Yeah. So that was pretty great. Yeah, that's
Someone else's joke. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
So let me read its bird for you. All right,
That got me. I'm sorry.
I see that. A fearsome and unforgettable performance will ignite guests' waking nightmares in the all-new show Halloween. I almost called it something else. Halloween Nightmare Fuel, where nocturnal creatures, aerialists of the night, and frightful fire performers will come alive to the crackling beat of rock, metal, and electronica music.
Is this where the Metallica rumor kind of like ended up going to? For the Seek and Destroy Metallica rumor? What did like somebody like, was it a game of telephone? And it was like, oh yeah, there might be some Metallica music in the Nightmare Fuel show. And it ended up being like, oh, it's Seek and Destroy. I must be the scares.
Yeah.
Probably not, but I like that theory. Let's just stick with that. I like that.
Aerialist of the night is such a funny phrase.
So listen, I'm sure this is going to be a fun show, but this blurb itself doesn't give me much to get excited about. And the name is not the most creative thing I've ever heard.
I'm trying not to feel poo-pooing anything before we see it. But we were the rumors were, it seems to be the nail in the coffin of the rumors that we're going to get something to this type of thing, but with wrapped up in the lore of Jack and it sounds like if that's not where obviously happening anymore, and we're getting a little bit more of a kind of a generic stunt show, I guess the best way to put it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say that that's completely dead, but it does seem like something they probably want to include in this blurb.
It has to be. If there was any sort of Oddfellows tie-in or Jack tie-in, this would be all over this blurb, and I don't think it would be titled that either. This thing's like
can't even say the name, just that.
Yeah, this seems to be a bit more of just kind of a no really storyline here, just kind of a bit of a different acrobats and stunts, like a carnival sideshow type.
I mean, I will say, to kind of keep some hope alive that there's more to it. Last year, Altered States, it kind of started out, there was like no info and it just kind of the base of and be dancing and stuff, right?
Yeah, and then the rest is
but it was later found out that no, there's a full story to it. So hopefully that's the case here. I mean, listen, it doesn't have to be Jack related and Oddfellows or anything like that, but I don't want to go watch a show that's just a bunch of performers and nothing tying it together. I want a show with a cohesive story.
Yeah.
You don't want to go see Jack the Clown rocks, as in like Tarzan rocks.
Whoa. Yeah, you say that, but I would love.
Actually, now that I say that out loud,
Jack the Clown on roller skates. Can you imagine?
Jack the Clown rocks would be a great show.
That would be awesome.
I really hope there's going to be a drink named Halloween Nightmare Fuel at the event.
I don't, I'll be honest, but that's just because because it's called Halloween Nightmare Fuel, and that's not great. Sorry, I'm sorry but that's just kind of how I feel about that name. Apologies.
This is the funniest thing.
Yeah, Duff. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head here. Altered the part that I didn't love about Altered States is that it was kind of just more of a an acrobat show and different variety show just tied together with a story, but the story was the best part of that. My worry here is that that this is mostly just going to be a variety show with even looser of a story tying this all together.
Yeah, this blurb wouldn't give you much hope. It'll be more than that, does it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll see. To be seen. Like I said, Altered States kind of started this way too. There wasn't anything about any story, and it did have one. So, hopefully, this does the same and it comes with a story. But we'll see. Otherwise, if I had a hype list for the entire event, everything together, we won't. But this would be the bottom. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah,
I think we made that pretty obvious. So I think I could say that.
Yeah,
I don't think
sadly,
we're not
because
do a
I
show
love
hype
the
list.
shows, man. I love the shows.
Yeah.
Shows makes such a big part of this event. Now, I'm not. I still think this is shows are gonna make a big part of this event because we have Marathon and Mayhem, to do the heavy lifting here for us. But Altered States also was a good show. So I'm hoping that this one at least is on that same level.
I think I'm currently more hype about the line for Twisted Taters.
I will be the heel here and say that I'm looking more forward to Halloween Nightmare Fuel than to Tooth Fairy.
I don't think that. Yeah, no, that doesn't make you a heel. You have your opinions. You can have your wrong opinions.
What? Because it's something you haven't seen yet.
Well, one, it's something I haven't seen yet, and two, I think I'll probably like it better than Tooth Fairy.
I mean, shows play a big part of nothing's gonna jump out at you. Show your anxiety can be the level doesn't have to be down a little bit. It's basically almost like a reset button.
Another beer.
I mean, I will. So it has to be pretty bad for me not to be willing to go rewatch. Even
how often did you see Cyberpunk?
I was gonna say even Cyberpunk. I think I watched still not a lot compared to how much I would go and see other shows across the course of an event, but like 3 or 4 times. Did I really want to watch it more than once? No, I didn't. But I still went back a few more times just cause I do it.
Yeah. Well, I there's a lot of potential here. So hopefully it comes together and it's cool.
Yeah, I don't want it to be bad. Obviously, this is just this blurb and name doesn't give me any hype for it. That's all.
Yeah.
Is that kind of all we want to say about the actual announcements themselves?
Pretty much. I think. Yeah. I mean, we've gone long already.
Yeah.
I think we could wrap it up and save a lot of the really diving deep stuff for next week.
Oh, probably our hype list. I think that's
a
couple weeks out. There's one more thing I wanted to bring up. We were going to talk about construction updates, but I think we honestly kind of brought them up when necessary.
We did. We kind of put that through the story. Yeah.
There was a nice addition, or not so nice, depending on how you look at it. Opening weekend, so September 3rd and 4th, were both extended from 1 a.m. till 2 a.m. closing. So you can look at it as, hey, great, we get an extra hour, or oh shit, it's going to be so busy they decided to extend it already.
They've sold a lot of single day tickets. That's what that means.
So it's going to be quite the busy nights there on opening weekend. It sounds like.
Yeah, but we knew it would be. So
guys, we have to get through all 10 houses night 1 because we have Unmasking Horror the next morning. So
oh geez, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, we have till 2 a.m. So
oh my gosh.
We're gonna be working on ourselves.
Yeah, we really set ourselves up for failure here.
When everything was released and we could start buying stuff, we were very excited about opening weekend. And now we're realizing our opening weekend, a lot of fun but we're gonna be dead after.
Oh, I'm exhausted. I'm already feel tired just thinking about it. All right. Well, Duff, do you want anything else to add before we wrap up?
Don't stress about plexiglass just yet.
Yeah, no,
You
yeah,
don't know. So relax. There's still some people who are, for the most part, it's moved on. If you're the ones who are still really stressed about it, don't stress yet. Again, there's conflicting reports, and I know that brought a lot of people down. Don't worry, just yet. There's hope for either way. So
yeah, and I will also say that if let's not let something like that cloud the focus of the excitement of this event coming. I think let's not let it ruin the narrative of the talk of how excited we are for this event.
you're still gonna go and have fun. Don't worry, you'll still enjoy the event. I know it's never good to hear news you didn't want to hear, but it's not something that's gonna ruin the event for you at the end of the day. And I have thoughts. Mike has thoughts, but hey,
we're gonna save those for
it's
if
all
it
a rumor right
happens.
now, so it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
And I would say we have differing thoughts on this, but that's a teaser for later.
I don't think they're really differing. They're just kind of a different end. There's a different why, I guess.
Yeah.
There's a different why to it.
Yeah. They differ a little bit. But we'll tease that for the next time if we decide.
Just never have to hear it.
All right. We'll be back next week. As always, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at HHN365. And you can always leave us a voicemail at 407-906-3405. Go ahead and start telling us what. Honestly, I'm going to ask you guys the same question that we kind of asked throughout this. What are you looking forward to the most? What itch are you trying to scratch out of any particular house here? What are you trying to get out of Lights Camera at Hacktion 80's Revenge or Gorewood Forest? What are you hoping for to see out of those things? And leave us a voicemail and let us know. All right. Anything else to add, Duff?
That's it. We love voicemails. Leave them. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. And we'll be back next week and we'll see you in the streets.